Speaking another language is a valuable skill set, but what if that transcended linguistics and meant environment and culture as well? Let's talk about it. Welcome, everyone, to Outsider Information Exploration through Storytelling. I'm your host, Brandon. Hang out, get cozy, and if you're really into the vibe, like, subscribe, and engage. I try to do this at least once a week, usually on a Tuesday, which happens to be today. Got back on a flight yesterday, beat all the snowstorm traffic. Helps that I was going west, and doing it to morning. So we are on the clock and trying to get this thing up and out. Drink of the episode is the tea of the month for the new newsletter, which will be dropping tomorrow, the Golden Horizon, a blend that I feel pretty proud of. And it's got some cultural ties as well. So check out the newsletter, replicate it if you will. Let's get going. All right. So we do this thing where we all devalue our experience, our expertise a lot. And for whatever reason, I think this idea of showing false humility is kind of stupid. Because we should be proud of the things that we have done. And if you're not aware of all the cool things you have done, take a moment, sit back, write them all down because you probably have done a lot of things. I talk about my background a lot. And it perplexes people because it's nonlinear. And you factor that in with me being the ripe old age of 32 years old and the whole black thing as well. I have something that a lot of people don't, and it's that I'm not insulated, and that perspective isn't always received well. Now, admittedly, I can be a lot better about how some of that comes across, because when delivering a message, that is absolutely key. People want to feel like they are included. They want to feel like they're part of it. They don't want to be felt like they are being talked at or down to. So while I try to be cognizant of that, I don't think I do it. I do have to be aware of how sometimes perspective can come across. But what is all this about? Cultural fluency isn't some abstract concept, but in a lot of ways, it is a survival mechanism. But like many survival mechanisms, not everybody develops the traits in order to survive. Not to go all Darwin on you, but the lack of cultural competency is very much a natural selection model. Not everybody can fit in every environment, but surviving and fitting are also independent of one another. Survival, though, speaks to long-term viability. Again, staying along that same natural selection model. But if you're assessing a skill set, you really have to think about, okay, what does this all look like on a list? In this case, the list is a resume. For me, I think about all the places that I have survived and how I am better for it, even if the process of surviving was taxing in all of those moments. When we talk about transferable skills, this in essence is the most valuable, but it's also the most invisible, despite it also being the most coveted. It gets very convoluted. The resume is the entry point to telling a story. The cover letter can expand on that story, but there's really no way in either to tell the full story unless you are talking about it explicitly. It shows, but it's not told. I have constantly railed about how talent acquisition, HR truly evaluates people. I do not consider it objective. I consider it amateurish at best. But when you look at somebody who's got a rich background, somebody who's done a lot of different things, that's a pretty core data point. But what you see versus the reality are two very different things. We, in a lot of ways, penalize varied experiences as unrelatable. But the reality is they have related and they have message to a variety of different demographics. And when you think about how your company, your organization, or the people that buy a product from you change, that can be immensely valuable because they are going to be able to help adapt that message. We also look at experience we don't understand as unrelatable, but the reality is they can likely gather and translate information to make a subject or a topic perfectly relatable to the people that they are going to be talking to or to the people that they are working with. People also really like a good story because we live through experiences. So somebody who has seen a lot, done a lot, is likely going to be very fascinating and interesting to a demographic of people as well. Code switching is a skill in its own right. And if you are of color, you probably know this more painfully than many others. But this specifically, right, being culturally fluent is not that. Code switching is kind of along the lines of being a chameleon, but this is adaptation, not camouflage. You are not blending into anything. You are assimilating. You are a part of, and you're having the conversations. And again, that's valuable. The potential trap, though, is fluency not becoming competency, right? Being able to know a whole bunch of things, being able to know 75 to 80% of it, but never being able to cross that threshold. You become a jack of all trades, which is really the worst outcome because then you really can't specialize. And I know that we have mixed views on specialization, but for the most part, the worst outcome is being a master of none and you are good at pretty much everything. But for those who exist and survive in multiple locations, you truly do have a rare skill set. Here's a sports analogy. I'm always good for one of those with something that I do. When we look at quarterback play in the National Football League, there is value in the veteran quarterback who has been in and around a lot of different systems and a lot of different playbooks. It's not about the fact that they can't stick somewhere. It's the fact that they're able to learn it and get it up to a baseline quick. Joe Flacco was a great example of this last season, right? Traded from the Browns to the Bengals, and on the same week, he is starting for him, right? There's some familiarity in the scheme. You have just done it before, and learning a new system isn't as daunting as it seems, especially if somebody is willing to give you the opportunity to do it or willing to teach you to do it based off of the upside that you have shown. It's not about a specific skill. It is about how quickly you can assimilate and learn a new one. All right. Experience looks like a lot of things. And me personally, I advocate people to get as much of it as you can within the window that you are able to do so, your unstable window. For me, that was in my 20s. I lived in 6 states. I worked in a lot of different places. I met a lot of people who I still get to talk to this day. It's a source of pride that I could probably look at every job or organization I was with, and there's probably at least one person I could still text or call and have a conversation with, even all the years later. Live a little bit, experience a lot, because at some point you can't and you won't, and you're going to kind of be stuck with what you have and you're going to have to make do with it. If you've seen something before, it is a data point, and data points can be translated into better information. Experiences shape all of us, even if they are niche. So, again, the message: go out, explore, experiment, break things, figure out what works and what doesn't, because you will be better for it, even if in the moment it is not a great time. Well, that was quick. Well, we got this one done under 10 minutes. All right, so this will be coming out today. No recording in advance, but yeah, as always, if anything resonates, like, subscribe, and engage. Check out the website. There will be updates going into the end of the month, into the new month, a couple of new resources. As that list continues to grow. As I said, the newsletter will be out tomorrow, and it has got a nice feel towards activism. So if you're interested, check that out. Economic report from the last 12 months. My version of it will be out at the end of the week. Again, something that helps us parse the information that we're seeing, hopefully in a little bit easier way. And other projects will be dropping, as well as the conversion to a research arm is going nice and quite seamless. All right. OIS is all about empowering people from the outside in. Remember, I can't save the world, but I will do my best in not making it a worse place. So until next time, stay safe, stay sane, and see you later. Have a good one.